Hello, everyone. Welcome to the When It Works podcast. You're with Julian Leahy, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Regan McGregor in Sydney, Australia. And Regan has done all sorts of wonderful things. He's an experienced B2B and SaaS marketing expert, passionate about working with startups. He currently leads the marketing team at Vervo, an AI-powered skills testing on a mission to make hiring about merit, not background. And previously, he's worked with several Australian SaaS startups, including head of growth at Digivisor and head of marketing at AgriWeb. And Regan's very much on the marketing end of things, which is why I wanted to have him on the podcast, because I like having experienced marketers that are out there in the trenches and we can steal all sorts of useful information. So welcome to the show, Regan.
Thanks for having me, Julian. I hope to give you lots of stuff to steal.
Yes, well, for everyone. And Regan, we're going to talk today about scalable growth strategies. So we're going to talk about what is a scalable growth strategy versus, I guess, some strategies that are not scalable, just so people understand.
Yep, perfect. Sounds like a plan.
So, what is scalable growth, and why should we be doing it?
Yeah, I guess scalable growth to me, it's like a bit of a broad term, but in the startup space, especially when you're trying to identify your product market fit and who your ideal customer is and what the product should look like and all that kind of stuff, you can't afford to just kind of be pushing a message. You really don't know what that message should be. And so scalable growth is looking at trying to find things that work essentially, and then trying to scale them. So trying to find, maybe it's content strategies or SEO strategies or PPC strategies that you kind of get a bite, and then scaling them up in a way that they can reach a mass audience or a mass.
Do people that you work with have some idea, or are they just completely at a loss? Who do you generally work with as your ideal prospects?
I guess, yeah, with Vervo, we kind of focus on two kind of main customers. That's like hiring managers and talent acquisition professionals. And I guess my goal is to get in front of them, and we treat that a bit differently. There's one part of like talent acquisition where they're looking for, I guess, help in their role, and understanding like what's the newest or best trends in recruitment, and how can we help them, I guess, add value and help them with their job, and help them be more efficient and look great to their boss. And then there's hiring managers, which could be CEOs, could be like a head of marketing or a head of engineering. They're essentially really focused on just hiring fantastic people, and we're trying to, I guess, educate them and give them the tools that they need to do that. And so we're looking at, I guess, building scalable ways to get to those people, and we can go into that.
Yeah, and what is the kind of recipe that's working at the moment? In terms of how much content do these people need to be producing? What type of content? And then what's working as far as you talked about PPC and other paid advertising? What's the kind of mix that you're generally coming up with for people currently?
Yeah, for sure. So for us, I guess the way I like to think about it is intent based, and less about the channel or the medium in which to get to them. But if you think about it like that, like what we try and focus on is looking at where do people sit in levels of awareness. Like, are they completely unaware? Are they problem aware? That they have a pain point or something that they need to solve? Are they past that? Do they know about skills testing as a solution? Or are they massively aware that they have such like awareness that all we've got to do is convince them that the Vervo is the product that they need. So we kind of look at it that way, and work on creating strategies to I guess get to those. So to provide an example, right? Like if we look at the top end of the funnel, if you think about like the journey in which a hiring manager goes along, what's maybe the first thing they're going to do? They're going to say like, how do I hire this person? And so we've sort of worked on creating, as an example, like guides that help people hire a particular role. So that's kind of, and we've done that at scale. So we've produced hundreds upon hundreds of these guides that kind of go into detail about how to hire a particular person. And so that's an example at the top. But at
Like
the bottom,
PDF,
it might be
PDF documents.
like web pages, like landing pages where they can go and they can say, I want to hire X role, growth marketer, or a customer service representative. So that's going to be the first, like the start. They'll pop that into Google and hopefully will show up for every role you might think of, and even broadly all of the kind of categories of roles. That's kind of at the top. And then at the bottom, it's like, okay, these people know all about skills testing. At that point, they're trying to compare us to another tool. Maybe they're like looking at one of our competitors. And at that point, it's how do we communicate why we're different and what's our unique value proposition? And so that comes down to like creating scalable, comparison pages and scalable content at that level of awareness, so that we're kind of getting them where they are in their journey. So.
Yeah, the unique selling proposition is a big one. Hey, I heard you say intent-based. Are you a Frank Kern fan? Frank Kern, the marketer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. No. I thought you might be. He talks a lot about intent-based marketing, and that unique selling proposition is so important, and it's one that people and companies are not really aware of, or sometimes they are, but and it's basically, your positioning in the marketplace and how to convey it through your content and advertising, how to show that you have something that is different, that is speaking to the specific people that you want to go after, and something that is just a bit different from your competitors. And there's just so many different ways you can do that. And all it takes is that time and spending time on it and just coming up with that. And your positioning is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess when we think about it too, it's to that, like when we think about intent, people who might be in the middle of the process, maybe they're looking at something like resume screening, and so that sort of intent, like leveraging that kind of existing demand, we're then positioning this alternative. So it's not just competitors of like these direct competitors, but saying, hey, resumes are not necessarily the best thing to hire on. Like you should really focus on people's skills and not say the prestigious university they went to or the fact that they worked at this company or know this person. And so it's interesting, like what you said, like that unique value proposition is really important at that point, because you're trying to convey why are we different to an alternative solution. That might even be another product. That this might be a spreadsheet or a document or a resume in our case.
That's interesting. And so you're talking, a lot of what you do is talking to your clients and telling them there are different ways of I guess looking for the competencies that you want in the role, and it's a real difference in traditionally how people have applied for jobs and things like that. So are you sort of coming up with ways of testing applicants and what are the finding out what the competencies are that are required and how you can sort of measure those and then present them to the company that in their own hiring process?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. If we think about like a traditional customer journey, for us, it starts, how do I hire this person? And they go, okay, they need these skills. I'll create a job description for that. Okay, they'll come back to us and say, how do I interview for them? Okay, like I should get them to do a skills assessment. Makes sense why you should get them to do that. We kind of convey that messaging, and at which point, okay, what's the next thing they're going to do? They're going to look for a skills assessment for that role. So what we've done is created a library of pre-built skills assessments to help them get started and show them how that might look for that particular role. And so that's where like the scalable part comes in. We're trying to, I guess, create such a broad library of resources at every stage in the funnel to I guess whenever somebody is in that particular mindset, showing up every time that they're looking for something, because they may start up here, and if they do, like, we want to be along for the journey. And so every kind of next step that they take, if we show up, every Google search they go back to do, if we continue to show up, then they see us as a valuable partner, and they see us as adding value. And we're not asking for anything. We're offering them so much value and offering them this content that that then they see, they're willing to give us a go. Basically, they're willing to do the free trial or sit on a demo and help us add more value to their business.
Does it take much convincing? I mean, because it's kind of a new way of doing things and hiring, and the old boys network and the right universities and all that is kind of like not really what is needed in today's world, I feel. So, is it much of a challenge educating CEOs and saying, look, there's another way of doing this?
Yeah, it's really a great point you make. When you do it, you've got to, like, because there's so much benefit to focusing on skills, right? There's removing bias out of the equation. There's getting great people. But if you position it as like you're doing it wrong, people don't respond very well to that. And so what you kind of got to do is make them the hero, like make them the hero in the story, and say, hey, you company, like, you can lead this industry by hiring people who might miss out or who will traditionally get screened out, but are actually like fantastic candidates who have all of these skills, but you just need to make an adjustment to how you're doing things. Or I think what it comes down to is, like, people are pretty motivated by, I guess, their own greed. I guess, like, they say, you can't sell vitamins, but you can sell painkillers. And so you've got to, like, focus on what is it that's the pain. So for our bigger companies, right, it's like they're hiring, they've got thousands of candidates applying, and the best way for them to do that is to, like, screen resumes, and at least that's what they think the best way is. And so if you can show them that not only can they get better candidates this way, but also they can do it a lot faster and remove, and as a bonus, they're removing bias out of the equation, because they're not relying on that kind of, traditional, well, they went to Harvard, they didn't, so chuck them in the round filing cabinet, so to speak. If you can, like, narrow down on their pain points and what it is that's actually the thing that keeps them up at night, then I think you can then craft a message around the additional benefits of it. And you can look at that in, like, multiple ways. It might be just speed and efficiency with people like startups. It might be that they have no idea what that role should look like. And so if we provide them pre-built assessments with pre-built questions and are able to help them, like, easily check out if a head of sales or a head of marketing knows what they're talking about, then that, they're not kept up at night by the fact that they're not sure if this person was the right hire or not, because they know that person was the right hire because they answered all the questions well.
All right. There is a gold nugget alert for the last 5 minutes. Did you hear Regan say you can't sell vitamins, but you can sell painkillers? I've never heard that, but that is just the most perfect expression. I don't know whether you came up with that. I'm just not going to ask you whether you did or not. But I mean, and that is exactly the way to approach marketing, is what is the pain that the person is going to, and then maybe later on you're going to give them the vitamins, which is what they need, but you need to focus on the pain. They want instant relief, and you want to demonstrate that you have the bridge. I always talk about the bridge that's going to get the customer to what they want, and it's going to relieve them of their pain and get them what they want. And that's what Regan is talking about. When he's talking with clients and potential clients, focusing on the pain points that they have and presenting that bridge that's going to solve them. And people are so much more receptive to that. And then later on, you've got all the vitamins, haven't you, Regan?
Yeah, absolutely. Reel them in with the painkillers, and then
that's such a key concept. And I hope you guys can take that away. In whatever business you're doing, is in all of your personal branding, all of your content, all of your sales copy, and the first thing you need to do is work out who your prospect is, and as Regan said, what keeps them up at night, and you need to really spend a few days on that. Who are they? What is making them angry? What's troubling them? What do they want? And then now you start developing the content that is going to solve the problem. And the moment you are presenting that as on your front end, people are straight away going to be paying attention to what you're doing. And then, of course, they will start to see the whole offering that you've got. Some great info there, Regan. I'm really glad that we had you on, and because this is something that I'm always telling people, and I think you really delivered it in a real world way that I think people will catch on to and get some benefit from.
Thanks. I'm glad I could offer some value and help with resolving some pain points for people.
Yeah, the pain points, it's people need to know it, and it's not something that you know straight away. So I always get a bit excited when I hear stuff like that. I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks for coming on, Regan. There was some great content there, and thanks for listening and watching, everyone. I'll see you very soon on another episode.